Today's January 17th, 2017. Only a few more days to the inauguration, John.
Only a few more, Andrew, and we are closing in on it. I know you're going to be there in all of your glory.
I know. I can't wait to see all the bikers roll into town. Trump even tweeted about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's great because, apparently Trump and the Rolling Stones have that in common anyway. I know they're not huge Donald Trump fans, supposedly. Remember when they had, Altamont? They had those Rolling Stones as their bodyguards at that.
Hell's Angels. Do you know what they did that for? They did that for, beer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They got paid in beer and maybe something else.
Okay, now here's a trivia question for you. What song did that person get killed to?
Oh, I don't know. He got stabbed by one of the Hells Angels, right?
Yeah.
These days,
I looked this up on Wiki. The internet has everything.
What song?
Under My Thumb. I think it was like the fifth song in, because they even have it, if you look it up on Wikipedia, it's like the third song there was fights breaking out, and then they have the fourth song, they had the whole playlist and what happened, and it's like Under My Thumb, song number 5, person stabbed. I love the internet. Where would
I don't
be?
know.
I mean,
where can
you
get answers like this?
So I got to print my breaking news. Beep, 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 beep. Our friend Scaramucci. What do you got?
Well, so Scaramucci apparently has sold his firm,
I saw that.
And I don't know who the buyer is yet, and he wouldn't tell me yet.
It's a Chinese, they're suspecting a Chinese firm and somebody else.
Well, yeah,
seriously.
Very possibly. Meanwhile, though, he is at the Davos conference. I heard him interviewed there, and he and I have been going back and forth in instant messages and things. And he says, you know what? He says, I've been coming here for 10 years, John. He said, this is the first year I'm out here with a food taster.
It's funny
and it's
so
sad,
he actually,
isn't it? Because now he actually does have to. I mean, if he takes the Valerie Jarrett role with Mr. Trump, it more or less means that he does have to have, protection, and he has to be worried about people who mean him harm. That's kind of one of the sad commentaries about anybody in politics, but in particular, a good friend of yours and mine, Anthony Scaramucci.
But you know what? She had I believe 2 or 3 Secret Service, because it was the first of its kind. And she gave herself some bullshit long title like Special Administrative Assistant of Liaison. It was look it up. It's the dumbest title in the world. But they also said it came with a bunch of Secret Service. So that's interesting. I didn't think the fake news said that they weren't sending anybody to Davos, but Scaramucci's there.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense. That means I read fake news.
That means you
earlier.
read fake news, indeed.
So Trump does have somebody at Davos. Boy, I'd love to hear what they say to him this year. I guess he's getting fresh sushi or whatever they serve up in Davos. I guess he goes up to the upper level in Davos, the Davos Platz.
Yeah. Well, as always, Anthony is both a friend and a very interesting, insightful confidant for Mr. Trump, and great with strategy, and obviously has some of the biggest world leaders at his fingertips as far as, his Rolodex anyway, because you and I know, Andrew, that he has had many of them come speak at his conferences.
I know. I think he did the first interview with George Bush. After he came out of office, George W. showed up at SALT. I think that first year, whatever year that was, if I remember correctly, which I thought was a pretty good get. And then, of course, Tony Blair and a couple other folk. Wow. So back to us non-Davos type people. What's going on this week? Anything? Yeah,
you and I aren't quite trying to put ourselves in that. And
I don't know. I wouldn't want that job.
No,
let me tell you.
I mean, on the one hand, Andrew, I would be flattered to be thought of as somebody that could be that, but I wouldn't want it for me or my family. because it's almost like the president-elect, Mr. Trump. You're already a wealthy guy. You're flying around in your own jet that's more lavish than the jet you're going to get on. Now, granted, it doesn't hold as many people, the press corps that the president travels with, and
it's not as fast.
But it's a friggin' gorgeous jet. It's one of many that he has, and he's the first president that's going to downgrade going into the White House. I mean, my friend Dr. Prunskis was just there a week ago. He's a friend of Valerie Jarrett's, and he was given a very nice tour by Ms. Jarrett. And he said one of the things that becomes very apparent is it's not the lux that you might think. He said there's lots of very luxe things, like having in the second or third basement a florist shop down there for all the fresh flowers every day and for all of the events that go on there. But granted, Mr. Trump doesn't have that at Trump Tower, but I don't think that you'd compare the view or where you are. I'd rather be in the fishbowl that is Trump Tower than in the White House, Andrew.
That's crazy. Well, I head out Thursday.
Nice.
To jump into the fray.
I know you're going to have some great video from there.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally going to vlog it. I've been vlogging every day. So I'm going to get that done. And I think I'm going to go to that place where the News Museum, it's all about news. It's like the history of news. And they have a Ted Kaczynski's cabin that he lived in, the Unabomber.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to going to visit that, making my pilgrimage to the Harvard professor.
Well, as far as
just letting you know, if I don't show up to work on next Monday, you'll know why.
Yeah, because the Secret Service wanted to know why you were so interested in that cabin.
I ain't going there.
Interesting stuff going on. The market's taking a breather. The JP Morgan did just what you and I had talked about. Had that nice pop through 89 last week. Pre-market, I think it opened 88.17 during regular session, and then quickly sold off. And what I was telling people on Fast Money halftime today, Andrew, was that you have to kind of pay attention to that. I mean, everybody was willing to give the stock, not buy the stock at that level. So anybody who'd ridden it decided, hey, it's a good time to take profits. I'm somebody who is a contrarian, but I'm not going to fade something like that after the huge run it's had. But I don't think it carries it much below 82. I think 80 might be, between 82 and 80 would be a great entry again, I think, unless the market flips, and I'm not really looking for that. But it will be these kinds of moves that we should anticipate. Some will carry momentum through their earnings, and others will be just viewed as, okay, you had an awful lot baked into this thing. Stock's coming from 60s, now it's almost 90. Not such a bad time to take some profits. I still have some long-term call spreads, but I took off all the short-term stuff last week.
And that's JP Morgan. JPM is down $3 right now, 83.50 or so. What else?
Well, today I saw some put activity, Andrew, in an interesting stock that we don't see much, which is Splunk, SPLK. It hit right away early, and then it just accelerated, and we broke through the 100-day, the 200-day, the 50-day, and now just in the afternoon, we've broken through the 20-day even. These are all moving averages I'm describing, folks. So it doesn't mean that I'm going to be right, but it certainly looks like it wants to test right around that $50 level. So I'm long put spreads in here because of the strong buying of the double puts, that is 55 puts in Splunk, and I'll probably these are weekly calls, so I'll be in them a very short time. Probably take half off today because stock's down 4.6%, and then I'll maybe start taking off the rest of it tomorrow or the next day.
Okay, SPLK, like a hot knife
Yeah,
going
because you
through
know what
butter.
a splunk is, Andrew? Somebody who investigates caves. You know where most caves are?
Yes.
Down underground.
That's right, spelunkers.
Well, this one's
that's a good one. This thing's going down into the cave. All right, I like that. I like that metaphor. And what are the other ones? You had one on
Weatherford.
The TV.
Let's see, Weatherford, WFT.
Was it Weatherford?
I had that one.
WFT.
Because we had it when it was under 4, and it popped in November through 5. Then we had it when it was under 5, and it popped back through 5. Now they're buying the 6 calls out in March. So I decided, these guys have been right so far. I'm going to try them again and see what happens. So I'm back in that one in Weatherford for looking for upside over the next couple months. So I'll probably be in these at least a month, these calls.
Not to go off subject here, but I sent you a link to that guy, John Olson. You
said he's in Japan powder now, right?
Oh, my God. He made like one of the best videos. I sent you a link. I love this guy. And he just hit 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. But I know you're going skiing at the end of the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to hit some powder. So I figured get you inspired for some powder. Yeah. All right. So me, I don't ski, but I like watching other people do it. So I like that. Okay. So I think that's about it for the day.
Yeah, I think so.
Unless you got one more. Unless you got some more.
Let me see, Andrew. KSU, that hit early today, and maybe URI, which is United Rental, URI. Those two. We'll fill you in more later in the week on what we're seeing. Hopefully tomorrow we'll fill you in. But remember, holiday shortened week, so you got to be hitting them when you can.
All right.
All right.
All right, man.
Subscribe on YouTube or through iTunes, and if you like the chatter, well, give us some love on iTunes. Thanks.